Senate meets with Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Team to examine grey areas in proposed tax reform bill. Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar deploys fact-finding team to investigate incidents of misfire during airstrikes in Zamfara State. Plus, Nigerian Correctional Service calls for reform in the country's criminal justice system as awaiting trial inmates continue to make up the majority of prison population. Hello and welcome to the late evening news at 11 on NEWS24. I am NEWS24. Lagos State lawmakers have impeached Speaker of the House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, over allegations of financial misappropriation and lack of transparency in managing the Assembly. The motion for the impeachment was moved under matters of urgent public importance at an emergency plenary in Lagos. Musa Toliat reports.
The plenary was far from the regular because it was conducted in the chamber without power supply. Having acknowledged a letter for emergency sitting, Honorable Femi Said, representing Koshafe Constituency 2, moved the motion for the impeachment of the Speaker, Mudashiru Obasa, under matters of urgent public importance.
I hereby move that the Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa, be removed as Speaker of this House Assembly for the following reason. 1. Gross misconduct and poor leadership, including perpetual lateness to legislative sessions and meetings.
Thereafter, the clerk declared the office of the Speaker vacant. Then it was time for nomination for the office of the Speaker. 32 out of the 40 members of the Assembly ratified the nomination of Mojisola Lasbat Miranda as the new and first female Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, while Honorable Majid Fatah became the Deputy Speaker.
Strive to preserve the fundamental and objective and directive principles of state policy.
So the House, as you can see, we have resolved to work together and ensure that we move the Parliament to the next level.
The House of Assembly also suspended the clerk of the Assembly, Olalekan Onofeko, and he has been replaced with Abubakar Taiwo as the acting clerk of the House of Assembly. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
And now to security. Concerned about the reported incidents of civilian casualties in the recent Nigerian Air Force airstrikes in Zamfara State, the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, has dispatched a fact-finding team to Zamfara to fully investigate the incident and provide a detailed report for further action. A statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Vice Marshal Olushola Akimboiwa, indicates that the team, led by Air Vice Marshal Edward Gabquet, Director of Coordination and Cooperation in the Civil Military Relations Branch of the Nigerian Air Force Headquarters, will liaise and interface with state and local government officials, as well as all other critical stakeholders for a holistic assessment of the situation with a view to driving the appropriate response. The Chief of Air Staff wishes to reiterate that the NAF's commitment to the highest level of professionalism and transparency in the conduct of operations in line with appropriate global standards, as the need to maintain public trust is germane to its operational effectiveness. Borno State government has confirmed the killing of 40 farmers in Kukawa local government area of the state. Confirming the incident in a statement, the State Commissioner of Information and Internal Security, Professor Usman Tar, described the attack as an act of terrorism. He says Governor Babagana Zulum condemns the attack and calls on the armed forces to track and neutralize the criminals. He recalls that on Sunday, 12th January, armed militia suspected to be Boko Haram ISWAP terrorists attacked some farmers and fishermen at Dumba community near Baga in Kukawa local government area. The state government assures citizens of Borno that the matter will be thoroughly investigated for further necessary action, as investigation had since commenced, according to the Information Commissioner. The Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Egbetokun, has urged police personnel to remain professional at all times. This was at a virtual conference he convened with strategic managers of the force in Abuja. Francis Form reports that the conference focused on reviewing past achievements and setting new goals for enhanced policing strategies in 2025. Additionally, the IGP announced plans for reorientation courses aimed at instilling attitudinal change among police personnel with a focus on professionalism, promotion of human rights, ethical conduct, and community policing.
Cases being investigated by CID. Officers lobby to go to CID not for the interest of working in CID, but for the pecuniary benefit. Henceforth, posting to CID shall be done by mobilization in and out. I also want to emphasize the need to go back to weekly lecture of our men. We are going to utilize the weekly lecture tradition to pass the message that we want to pass to these officers.
The IGP urged all strategic managers to be accountable in their dealings with the public at their various commands, emphasizing that supervisors will be held responsible for any misconduct by their subordinates. In another development, new figures reveal that nearly 49,000 inmates in Nigerian custodial centers are awaiting trial, which compound to challenges across the country. The Acting Controller General of Corrections, Sylvester Ndidi Nwakuche, disclosed this during an interactive session with senior officers. Shehu Muhammad Dati reports.
The meeting, described as interactive, encouraging and promising, aimed to refocus and recalibrate the corrections service for better delivery. According to the Acting Controller General, zero tolerance will be applied to acts compromising the service sanctity, with consideration given to staff and inmates' welfare.
There's no amount that is too small for feeding people that are incarcerated, or too much, but at the same time taking care of their stomach. If you want me, I will say 5,000, 10,000, but are they realistic considering budgetary constraints? So for now, we are moving one step at a time.
To address overcrowding, the corrections boss plans to engage state chief executives to expedite trials of over 90% of state offenders in custody. Additionally, the construction of a proposed 3,000 capacity modern custodial facility and other centers nationwide will be fast-tracked. Following the presidential increase in inmates' feeding rates, monitoring teams have been deployed to oversee inmates' welfare, ensuring vulnerable persons in custodial centers receive favorable treatment.
The staff also have their own part to play, in as much as there was a cascading aspect of what happened in the outer society as a concerning security affecting us as a result of external aggression on our facility. The staff will also, the human factor must have to be in place so that some of these lapses, indolences will not be compromised.
The Controller General praised staff resilience amidst challenging conditions, urging them to remain focused as better days lie ahead. In Abuja, Shehu Muhammad Dati, NTA News.
National Assembly has entered its second week of the budget defense exercise, with ministries, departments and agencies defending their financial proposal for the year 2025. In this next segment of the news, National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali brings us up to speed with a compilation of the exercise.
Minister of Power at the Budget Defense informed the Senate Committee on Power that 2.779 trillion naira is the ministry's proposal and that powering and installation of CCTV cameras on highways across Nigeria for safety of travelers is among its about 200 capital projects in 2025.
We also intend to establish command and control centers at every 20 kilometers to ensure that they are properly equipped to patrol those routes, and where there is anything triggered on the CCTV, the security personnel will be there.
The Senate and House Joint Committee on Army continued the engagements behind closed doors after commitments to ensure improved security.
We know what is required in terms of the type of procurement made by the Army itself.
We have seen how we have succeeded in improving their capital and largely their overheads.
The Joint Committee on Science and Technology hosted the minister, who emphasized that the ministry will sustain the trajectory of economic diversification through application of science, technology, and innovation.
To move the Nigerian economy from resource to knowledge-based, driven by innovation.
Many R&D resources of the ministry have not gone beyond shelf of laboratories, and the ministry need to make effort in commercializing and patenting those resources.
At another session, the Ministry of Environment and its agencies defended their proposals before the Senate Committee on Environment.
We don't have any challenge except that the funding is the problem.
Immediately, the one that requires to come back, immediately will come back.
Meanwhile, the Joint Admission and Matriculations Board, JAMB, was asked to forward more documents when it appeared before the Joint Committee on Tax Fund.
Need a detailed information on the extent of spending of JAMB.
National Senior Citizen Center was among agencies that got the green light on their proposal before the Special Duties Committee at Senate. Improving welfare of retirees was what dominated the budget defense engagements between the Joint Committee with PENCAM and PITAD.
We also need to take into cognizance as well the deduction by the federal government. We do hope that it stays at 30% or lower.
Just the highlights for us to be able to look at it.
The chairman of the NDLEA sought the support of the National Assembly during budget defense to enable it to procure equipment as it continues the war against illicit substances.
The Senate Ad Hoc Committee, mandated to look into gray areas of the tax reform bills, has met this Monday evening with the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform team. At the end of the meeting, which held behind closed doors, both sides expressed optimism that the interest of all Nigerians remains the priority.
We are in the process. We have agreed amongst ourselves that we must synthesize the whole processes to ensure that at the end of the day, we give to Nigerians what Nigerians want, and that is a law that serves the purpose of all Nigerians. Yes. So that is where we are now, and hopefully by the time we meet again, we will finalize.
And then you will see the consensus is that the bill is, all the bills that we have, is what the country needs as at now. But because there will always, when you have this kind of reform, a situation where more clarification, more education is needed. So what has happened today is that you see the framer of the law, you see the Attorney General, you see the lawmaker, and all of us, the operators and everything. All those things you call gray area were discussed, identified, and then so the judgment is not to be made. It's just for us to continue the engagement, the consultation, which based on your observation have been positive.
You're watching the late evening news at 11 on NTA News 24. Still ahead, PDP crisis on occupant of National Secretary office deepens. Details of this and more when we return.
I am Oluremi Tinubu, the global and national Stop TB champion. Many people have asked why I've chosen to champion the fight against a disease like tuberculosis. My reason stems from a deep personal experience. I once had a friend who unfortunately fell ill and concealed the nature of his sickness until it was too late. Eventually, after he passed, we discovered he had tuberculosis. Sadly, due to the stigma and discrimination surrounding the disease, he would not speak up or seek for help. His death was a painful reminder that we could have intervened and saved a life if only we had known earlier. Tuberculosis is an airborne disease that primarily affects the lungs, but can also impact other parts of the body. Being airborne means anyone, regardless of their socio-economic status, can contract it. In Nigeria, 1 person dies of TB-related illness every 7 minutes, amounting to 206 deaths every day. Globally, 1 person succumbs to TB every 25 seconds, which is a staggering 3,456 lives lost daily. These deaths are entirely preventable because TB is curable if detected and treated early. If you or someone you know has been coughing for 2 weeks or more, coughing up blood, experiencing night sweats, or losing weight drastically, it might be TB. Please visit the nearest government hospital or primary health care center for proper diagnosis and treatment. TB treatment is free in all government and some private health facilities. Let us also remember not to stigmatize or discriminate against TB patients or those who have been treated for TB. Individuals who have been cured of TB cannot infect others. I call on all stakeholders, especially the private sector, to join us in the fight to end TB in Nigeria. Together, we can make a difference. Remember, TB anywhere is TB everywhere. End TB by 2030. Yes, we can.
Many thanks for staying on. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has officially presented instruments of office to the new Alaafin of Oyo, Oba Akim Abimbola Owade. Ayomiku Ajibola reports that the presentation ceremony took place at the Executive Council Chambers, Governor's Office, Agodi, Ibadan. Oyo State High Court sitting in Ibadan has granted bail applications filed by the ex-wife of the Ooni of Ife, Naomi Shile Kunlola Oriyomi Hamzat, and the principal of Islamic High School, Bashorun Abdullahi Fasasi. Kehinde Omolosho reports that the ruling was pronounced by Justice Kamoruddin Olawoyin.
Argued that bail applications before the court last Tuesday, but the court ruled that the defendants be remanded in prison till January 13 for a ruling on their bail application.
The court granted his application for bail, which means Oriyomi Hamzat has been directed to be released by the prison custody on bail. And the court also stated the conditions for the bail. That is 2 sureties in the sum of 10 million. That does not mean those sureties should pay that 10 million, but they should enter into a bond that in case Alhaji Oriyomi Hamzat jumps bail, that is what they will forfeit to the government. It was not a premeditated act. It was just unfortunate that it happened. And we have compassion for those who suffered one loss or the other. And we pray that may the soul of the victims rest
in peace.
The judge ordered the suspects to deposit their passports with the court and barred them from granting an interview. The defendants were arrested over the ill-fated Children's Festive Party in December 2024, which claimed the lives of 35 children following the stampede at the Islamic High School, Bashorun, Ibadan. Kehinde Omolosho, NTA News.
Senator Samuel Anyanwu says he remains the substantive National Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, despite the appeal court in Enugu State dismissal of his position. The appellate court ruling upheld the decision that recognized former National Youth Leader Sunday Udokoye as the National Secretary. Correspondent Timothy Yusuf reports that the party's National Publicity Secretary, Debo Olunguaba, however, disclosed that PDP is yet to receive any stay of execution on Anyanwu's resumption.
The National Secretariat of the PDP officially opened this Monday, 13 January 2025, from the Yuletide holiday. Two factional secretaries vowed to resume following the Enugu State Court of Appeal ruling sacking Senator Samuel Anyanwu from office, having participated in the last governorship election in Imo State. Anyanwu resumed office, saying that with the stay of execution, the status quo must be preserved, meaning he remains the National Secretary until the Supreme Court resolves the matter.
As a matter of fact, what the law says that I should appeal. I appeal the matter, appeal for stay of execution and order and appeal to the Supreme Court. Obviously, what it means that the position remains as it is until determined by the Supreme Court.
Sunday Udokoye, however, did not show up at the PDP National Secretariat against his earlier resolve to resume office this Monday. PDP National Publicity Secretary Debo Olunguaba has reacted to the development, saying the party has not received any stay of execution, describing Anyanwu's resumption as unfortunate. A stay of execution, he stressed, is a process, and that the parties involved in the matter must all be served. Meanwhile, some supporters of Senator Anyanwu staged protest at the entrance of PDP National Secretariat, chanting songs that Samuel Anyanwu remains the National Secretary of the PDP. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Following the recent emergence of a new COVID-19 variant in China and subsequent international concerns over the spread of the deadly virus, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has convened a strategic stakeholders meeting to discuss the preparedness, response plans, and proactive measures to take within Nigeria. Director General of the agency, Zuba Ida Umar, said all hands must be on deck to proactively curtail the spread in the country. Ilyasu Ali Yakubu reports.
SARS-CoV-2 Omicron strain was first reported in May 2024. It has been detected in 43 countries across Europe, Asia, and North America. In Africa, Botswana reported one case from a hospitalized European traveler. It is currently being monitored by the health authorities in other regions.
Presently, we have our action plans.
These stakeholders meeting, convened by the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, is geared towards harmonizing efforts to check the spread of the virus in Nigeria. Director General of NEMA, Zubaida Umar, in a message, told the gathering that they must do everything within their powers to prevent past COVID-19 experience that claimed many lives.
While Nigeria is not directly affected at the moment, proactive planning, preparedness, and collaboration are essential to safeguarding our citizens and mitigating any potential risk.
As of 24th September 2024, the World Health Organization (WHO) designated the virus as a variant under monitoring, with rising prevalence in several countries, which warrant a cautious approach and strengthening surveillance in Africa. In Abuja, Ilyasu Ali Yakubu, NTA News.
And that concludes the late evening news at 11 on NTA News 24. Many thanks for watching. I am Chinenye Ngui.